Hello, and welcome to this webinar on using ESSER funds for credit recovery in high schools. My name is Caroline Moore, and I'm an associate at Education Resource Strategies. ERS is a national nonprofit that partners with district, school, and state leaders to transform how they use their people, time, and money so that every school prepares every child for tomorrow. Specifically, in furthering our mission in this moment of response to the disruption to student experiences caused by COVID-19, ERS has created a series of guidebooks to support districts in strategically implementing high-impact strategies using stimulus dollars with an eye towards sustainability. We're excited to highlight shining examples of transformational work happening across the country, where districts and schools are making intentional efforts to support students and improve schools now, while also engaging in critical conversations and shifts to ensure the sustainability of these strategies once short-term revenue streams expire. So, why credit recovery? The pandemic and resulting virtual and hybrid schooling has contributed to reports of drastically increased course failure rates over the last few years. In some cases, districts are even seeing twice as many course failures from their high schoolers as compared to pre-pandemic years. By expanding and improving credit recovery programs, school districts across the country can help students regain learning lost during the pandemic while continuing to accumulate the credits they need to graduate on time. Our strategy guide helps district leaders who are looking to build or assess credit recovery offerings organize resources to get programs off the ground and to do so in an intentional, strategic, and sustainable manner. In this talk, we will discuss the research-backed elements of a strong credit recovery program, talk through some key staffing and scheduling decision points, and provide some concrete examples of real credit recovery programs in action. We'll also talk about how districts might use short-term federal stimulus dollars strategically to invest in credit recovery approaches. So, of course, our first question is, what is credit recovery? Credit recovery programs are ones that allow a student to recover credit after they have failed a course required for graduation. Students may have to recover a full course or only certain units or semesters, and it can take place during or outside of the school day. So what does a successful credit recovery program look like? Research has shown that typical credit recovery programs often succeed in raising student graduation rates, but not necessarily in increasing measures of student achievement. While on-time graduation is certainly a deeply important piece of the goal of these programs, we also want students to have high-quality experiences that enhance their mastery of content. Research indicates that the most successful credit recovery programs provide sufficient instructional support from an in-person teacher, rather than only having a staff member supervising online credit recovery. So even if an online platform is used in your district, students should still have access to meaningful instructional support. These programs also target needed competencies and allow students to focus on the content they did not yet master when they took the class on the first time, focusing on this mastery rather than on seat time. This may look like piloting competency-based courses. These programs should also offer flexibility, and they may take place outside of the school day, such as an evening, summer, weekend, or self-paced options. These options, as well as options that take place in flex time during the school day, can allow students to continue to progress on time towards graduation. We will discuss what some of these models can actually look like later on. To achieve these keys to success, districts need to be strategic and intentional about two key decision points. The first is how they will identify times and opportunities in their schedule to provide credit recovery to students in a flexible way. And secondly, how they will staff credit recovery to provide sufficient instructional support to their students. We will now talk through each of these in detail, starting with scheduling credit recovery in a way that is flexible and optimizes student and staff time. So there are three primary times that credit recovery can be scheduled. The first is scheduling it as a course during the school day. With this option, students may have fewer elective opportunities, and depending on how many courses they need to recover throughout their high school career, students' progress toward graduation might be slowed. By pairing this approach with a flex block or with a trimester or quarterly calendar as opposed to a semester calendar, you can reduce these lost credit earning opportunities. If there are large numbers of students needing to recover larger numbers of credits, this may require hiring additional FTE or changing teacher assignment, but it is the least expensive option if you can offer it with teachers with content expertise that you already have in your buildings. The second option is to offer credit recovery through an extended day, evening, or weekend option. This allows students to continue with current courses during the day, but incurs costs to stipend teachers for additional hours. You could consider a remote synchronous option that increases flexibility and could allow expert instructors to teach students across schools if you use a district-wide model. Finally, credit recovery can be offered during the summer. This also allows students to continue current courses during the year, but incurs additional costs for paying instructional and operational staff over the summer. This is most sustainable if large numbers of students need to recover multiple credits. We have seen districts pair summer credit recovery with additional summer enrichment or acceleration or work opportunities to increase engagement and cost effectiveness. There is always a risk that student engagement and attendance could be lower in out-of-school day versus in-school day options, but especially with this summer option, you may be able to pair the needed credit recovery with other things that will really engage students. So which option is right for your district will depend on how many students need to recover credits and what times your students are most able to engage in additional coursework. An optimal approach will likely involve combining multiple of these options in order to reach different groups of students and ensure they can each recover the appropriate number of credits. The option you select will also depend on the staffing model that works for your district. So next, we will talk about how to staff your credit recovery program. Many schools and districts are facing challenges finding the right staff for these programs. But as I mentioned, one of the keys of success is to ensure that students are receiving instructional support and are held to high standards for mastery during their credit recovery. This means that our district needs to make deliberate choices about who staffs each credit recovery session and ensures that every student is supported by an adult with true content expertise. So hiring new certified teachers can be expensive, but ensures students have access to true content area experts. Reassigning current teachers would be a cost-neutral option, but may require other scheduling shifts, like adding a flex block to the day or shifting to a different academic calendar structure if there is a much larger need for credit recovery than there has been in the past. If credit recovery is taking place outside of school, then you can stipend current strong or expert teachers, and this enables your staff to reach additional students, especially if programs are pooled across schools. Leveraging teacher residents or other support staff in your building can reduce group sizes in a given credit recovery session and enable the lead teacher to give individualized attention to students or smaller groups and offer feedback to the teacher residents and grow their practice. Finally, some community partners, such as City Year, can provide supervision and, in some cases, instructional support for credit recovery, which is a way to provide additional staff at scale and allow teachers to remain assigned to their regular courses. Districts should ensure that the partners they're considering working with can provide staff with content expertise. So now we've talked through these two key decision points for staffing a credit recovery program, and now we are going to talk through some real-life examples of what one of these programs could look like, modeled after real programs that ERS has studied. The first example is a twilight or after-school academy staffed by stipended expert teachers. The example we're showing is modeled after Austin ISD in Austin, Texas. In this example, credit recovery is offered in the afternoon and evening, 2 evenings per week for 4 hours at a time. Students use class time to work through course material, take exams, conduct labs, and other learning tasks. Expert teachers work with students to ensure comprehension and provide live just-in-time support. Students move through the curriculum at their own pace, so they might finish the course and recover the credit before the full 8-week term is complete. This option allows students to continue their standard courses during the day and move through the curriculum at their own pace in a flexible way. However, it incurs the additional costs of stipending expert teachers, and in this case, due to the scale of the program, the cost of a program manager to coordinate. Variations of this model could include holding the academy on Saturdays or pooling the Twilight Academy across schools based on need and availability of experts. This district-wide model could be done virtually in a synchronous fashion or in person, which would incur additional transportation costs. San Antonio ISD is another example of a district that uses a Twilight Academy in addition to intersession intensives that occur in 3-week chunks between semesters. This district also works to ensure that if a student fails the first semester of a course, there's time within the second semester for students to demonstrate mastery of earlier content, either within the course or through an online platform with support out of school from the same teacher. Pairing this Twilight Academy and these intersession structures means that students have a variety of ways to recover credits and are always paired with a high-quality instructor. The second example is based on a high school from Metro Nashville Public Schools and is a self-paced credit recovery lab that takes place during the school day. Students are assigned to this lab as a daily course. The lab is staffed by a full-time pedagogical expert and coordinator who could be a repurposed instructional coach. In addition, throughout the day, resident teachers push in at different periods to reduce group size and ensure students have access to multiple adults with varied content expertise. Support staff or community partners could be other options for staffing a lab like this. In the lab, students engage in self-paced online courses but have access to these varied adults for instructional support. So the great thing with this model is students with evening obligations are able to recover credits during the school day, but they may have fewer elective opportunities, and core class sizes may be larger than they otherwise would be if teacher residents are being reassigned to the lab in these periods. Pairing a trimester schedule with this model could help reduce issues with credit accumulation. And if your school has a flex block or is planning on adding one to its schedule, students could also use that flexible time for this lab and continue with their normal course load. There are more details on implementing a flex block in our academic supports guidebook. Our final example is a summer credit recovery option. We have seen District of Columbia Public Schools and Cleveland Metropolitan School District offer strong summer credit recovery programs. In this example, courses are offered in both morning and afternoon sessions to maximize flexibility and reach the most students. And like the Twilight Academy example, expert teachers are stipended to teach outside of the typical school day. There are also additional operating costs for a summer program, but summer credit recovery can be combined with summer bridge, accelerator, or enrichment opportunities to reduce costs per pupil and to increase engagement and participation. For example, in DC, the Summer Credit Recovery Program is paired with the Summer Accelerator for kids who may not necessarily need to recover credits, but need additional support to be prepared for the upcoming year. In Cleveland, their program is combined with a rich variety of extracurricular offerings both on campus and in the community. In both examples, students return from the summer more prepared for their next year's courses. In this example as well, you could consider a district-wide summer option and leveraging other staff such as residents or TAs to reduce group size. In DC in particular, the summer model is combined with after-school options within the school year. The district has been piloting competency-based courses based on core assessments for each course. So once students can pass these assessments, they are considered to have recovered the credit. This increases flexibility and motivation for students and has the added benefit of allowing teachers to be paid by the hour instead of for a specific chunk of course time up front. To match need across schools, credit recovery coordinators will sometimes have teachers from other DC schools offer the needed course at their school's program. The credit recovery teachers work with this program coordinator to monitor progress, and the team has seen particular success when dual certified special ed teachers are the teachers for this model. So now you've learned about the key decision points for building or assessing a credit recovery program and have seen some real life examples, but you may still have questions about how to start building a program in a sustainable way at this moment in time. Right now could be the perfect moment to invest in strong credit recovery. The availability of ESSER dollars and the unusually high demand for these programs right now might mean that the next couple school years are the ideal time to invest in some of these more expensive staffing options, such as stipending expert teachers to provide credit recovery after school or to monitor the progress of these students. However, this is also an important time to pilot and evaluate ways you may be able to provide lower cost recovery after stimulus dollars expire. This may include piloting using lower cost support staff to support credit recovery or trying out competency-based courses. You can dig into even more examples of sustainable and effective ways to fund credit recovery with stimulus dollars in our guidebook. Regardless of what model you choose, it's important to monitor your progress by using continuous improvement cycles. The district should invest in rapid continuous improvement cycles to answer questions such as, what schools are having the most success? How can we share these effective practices at other schools? Where are challenges arising and how can they be addressed? Many more resources on continuous improvement can be found on the ERS website. Finally, as we plan for effective and sustainable credit recovery programs in our high schools, it is critical to remember that the ultimate goal is to reduce the need for credit recovery by ensuring students are succeeding in their courses on the first try. Supporting students in this may include expanding supports and interventions during the course, or by piloting innovative credit accumulation practices. With strong practices in place in each of these other areas, the need for credit recovery may be significantly reduced over time. You can find even more content on credit recovery in our full guidebook, including more details on how to sustainably use short-term funds to build strong programs and real artifacts from districts successfully implementing these programs, both the ones we highlighted here and some additional examples. So you can access that on this link on the screen. We greatly appreciate all the work that you're doing for students and hope that you found today's webinar to be thought-provoking and helpful as you embark on expanding access to credit recovery programs using stimulus dollars. We'd love to keep in touch, and if there are ways that we at ERS can support you or ways we can learn from you, please reach us using any of the methods here on this page. And a reminder that expanding credit recovery programs is one in a series of high-impact ESSER investment strategies that we've created guidance on. We'll be diving into strategic spending, staffing, and scheduling models on other topics, such as tutoring, targeted academic supports, and connected professional learning for teachers in future webinars. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you soon.